It's been a long year and it's time to finally go out with a bang. Hello everyone, Robe here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to. Today we're finally doing the 2006 Bionicle overview, and my goodness, this year took a extremely long time to get all these sets because these were not cheap by any means. But that is besides the point, because I will mention how much all of this costs near the end, so I'll keep that aside. But now, the overview 2006. This is actually my favorite year of Bionicle. Actually, this is personally my favorite. This have like the best sets, in my opinion, in all of Bionicle, and I will die on that hill. I really do enjoy these sets. A lot of them. Some of them are, well, they're okay, but most of them I really do like. I definitely do enjoy them. But before I can actually get directly into the overview, I actually want to go over the brief story. The TOA Nuva, Taga, and Matorin finally returned to Machinui. However, Taga Doom told the TOA Nuva that Machinui was dying and they needed to go to Voinui to save Machinui with the Enika, the legendary Mask of Life. 6 Skakti ex-dog hunters called themselves the Paraka, arrived on the island, first posed as TOA, and eventually enslaved the Matorin with their Zamors. The TOA Nuva arrived and fought them, but lost. Meanwhile, back on Machinui, Jowler and a group of Matorin left for Voinui to aid the TOA Nuva traveling through the realm of Karzani. Karzani gave them new masks, and they found TOA canisters. They were traveled to Voinui in them. When they arrived, they were struck with the lightning from the Red Star and transformed into the TOA Ena. This year had a lot of interesting sets. However, I think that the Matorin were probably the worst, obviously, because they're just the Matorins, and a lot of them are just, all of them are actually just rehashed pieces used throughout the previous years, because all of them have just the reused TOA Metru mask. Yeah, they're all just the same colors. They're not even like recolors except for one of them, but I still think that, I really think they wish they made new mask molds, or at least recolor them. If they at least recolored all of them, I would have not have felt so like just disappointed by getting them, because they feel kind of like parts bin. You can really make this in any parts bench you may have to make these, except for I guess the mask, because you actually have the TOA Metru mask. But other than that, these are kind of, you know, the run of the mill. These were just your standard cheap sets to get if you didn't have a lot of money and you just wanted just some form of Bionicle to get, because I don't think they're really worth getting outside of really that. And of course, how could I forget about set number 7216, Gold Good Guy, or aka Taga Leon. And this is a really lame little battery pack, a little sale this was, because it came with Duracell batteries, and it came with this. I don't get the correlation with that. I have no understanding of why they did that, but regardless, it came with some batteries, and this thing is pretty lame. I wasn't even going to do this review. That's why I didn't for the longest time, because I felt like no one's going to care about this. So I purposely said I will wait until the overview to actually look at this, and now I am. This thing looks like absolute hot garbage. Now, I know that some pieces are a bit broken and the wrong color, because I did not care for this thing. I tried to brickling a lot of these pieces. It was a process in that. Well, I swear I do not like brickling, but regardless of that, I did the best I could, and you basically get the idea of what this is. And this thing is atrocious. It literally has a hand piece for the head. It's like, what is that? It has feet. It has hands for feet. What is it, a monkey? What is this thing? This thing looks like a piece of crap. It's the only good part of it is that it has the mask of Taga Leon and the little like golden spear. Like, you can use that for parts. I mean, this is great if you just want some parts. Like back in the day, if you were to pick this up, great for some parts. I mean, if you want some parts, yeah, you got it. But this is technically the, I guess, official set depiction of Taga Leon, and I think it's absolute just hogwash. I don't like it at all. I would not waste time getting it, so I'm glad to move on from this. Moving on to the more interesting sets of this year, definitely, is the TOA Ena. And now, I already did a review of this, so if you want to check that out, go check out that video. But To briefly summarize, these are my favorite TOA because they are the first TOA to be introduced with no gear functions. This is completely, just they're articulated in every possible way. There's no hiccups on like gear functions or anything. It's just like a complete action figure. It's just a biddable action figure. You're having fun with that. And I know a lot of people probably don't like that, but I personally prefer that because as cool as the gear was, it's like it's a cool little gimmick, but I personally prefer just the typical just action figure, honestly, because I think that honestly looks way better because it's a lot funner to play with because you're just playing with an action figure and you're just having fun. And of course they introduced the Zamuro launchers. Now of course I know the Paraka technically came first before the Nika, but they came out at the same time, but I should have showed them first. But regardless, I think that they have a really cool function, of course, because they have the Zamuro launchers and they have the little extended piece on it, which you can actually carry more of them. Now there's the caveat to it. It really pops out on the last one, so you can really only fit 3 in there without it falling, and the 4th one is kind of just standing there just like by gravity. But the rest of them are really good, and of course they have the light up swords, and the most controversial piece is their mask. The mask was really like controversial back in the day, and probably kind of still is, because a lot of people kind of hate it, kind of like it. Some people came around to it, but a lot of people still don't really like it. I personally don't mind it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. I think it's okay, but that's just me. And yeah, so they look really good. I mean, awesome. The TOA Ena are just one of my favorite. They're my favorite TOA team, and they're just one of my favorite sets in general, honestly. So I thoroughly recommend getting them. And please, once again, check out my video of this review for the more in-depth details of these sets. And of course, next in line is the Paraka, and they are interesting, to say the least. Now, I do like them, of course. I think that they are definitely interesting, and definitely back in the day when I first saw them, I liked them more than I do now. I feel like as time went on, I kind of stopped caring as much about them. So, honestly, they're decent. They're good. They're good for what they are, because obviously they kind of remind you of TOA, because funny enough, Erac is the last official brown like character to be introduced, or in the group, to have that Hershey brown color, that chocolate brown color, because after this you will never see that color, I don't think, ever again, unless I'm mistaken. Now someone can tell me in the comments, but regardless, I think he's the last one you see that has that color. And regardless, they look good. They have really good color schemes. I mean, I do like them. Now, of course, I did a review of this, so check that out for the more in-depth details. But the brief summarize, I think that they are pretty okay. They're decent. They introduce a lot of new pieces, and they're a bit more restricted than the TOA Ena because they have the rubberized spine and mask thing, and it's like on their arms as well. So they're a bit more restricted in that regard, and their arms don't bend as well as the Ena can. So they're a bit restrictive, to say the least. And of course, they have the Zamuro launchers, but they do have the issue with they don't have the little extended piece like the Ena does. So they're just like, it's just the one thing, and they shoot it out. So that's definitely something I'm not too crazy about, because, well, it can fall out really easy. And yeah, so again, I think the Paraka are really good. It's just that they could have been better. I think the rubber spine was a cool idea, but I don't think it was well executed, to say the least. But that's just how I feel about it. So again, check out the video for the in-depth opinions on this. And we have Erac, the combination model that technically is a set, and he is a combination indeed. He is quite a weird set to have, because he's a set that you can make pretty easily with the composite sets. The only thing that makes him special is his gold spine, unique gold spine, and his gold tubes. Other than that, you can basically make this with the composite Paraka. So I don't know what to really say about him, other than I think he's definitely a weird concept. I don't think he was the best thing ever. I know, of course, many years ago, I used to really enjoy Erac, and I thought he looked like the coolest thing ever. But obviously now, as an adult, I don't think he looks all that great. I think he's actually really bad because his legs are really restrictive and his arms are really restrictive. It's like there's no elbows. It's just put in odd places. There's axles sticking out. There's skulls literally on his hand that just stick out. And it's like, what is even happening with this monstrosity here? I do not like Erac. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I used to even say I liked Erac. I think even in my review that I did, I was like, oh, Erac is kind of cool. I'm like, no, he isn't. No, he isn't. He is actually kind of bad. Now, the gold spine and the gold tubes are kind of a cool concept, but other than that, I think that Erac was really bad. I think the color scheme is good for what it is, but still, this is something you don't play with, because you can't play with it because it's so restrictive and really badly, mishandled. It's really like practically unstable. I just think that if you want to get it, you can, but why would you? I mean, I think that this is just a real waste of time, to say the least. Last but certainly not least, and that is the Titans. All four of them, including Umbra. So, these, of course, the four Titans are, hands down, in my opinion, the best Titans that Bionicle has ever released. I think these are amazing sets. Seriously, check out my reviews of them, because I feel like I'm not going to be able to say as much as I would like to about them here, obviously. So check those reviews out if you are curious about my opinions on them, like, individually. But these guys are really good. They just pop at you with just so much color and personality. You can just know what kind of personality these characters have by just looking at them, and it's just so fun to build. I think that these are just absolutely incredible sets. Now, Umbra, okay, to be a little specific, Umbra, I think he's I think he's kind of average. I think he's just average, but the rest of them are super good. These are some real standout sets, of course, because obviously my favorite Bionicle of all times is going to be in this lineup. Paraka, legit my all-time favorite Bionicle ever. I don't think there's another Bionicle, in my personal opinion, it comes close, but definitely I think that one's the one that just really stands out to me. Now, when I get some sets later on down the line, the sets I've never gotten before, maybe I'll change my opinion, but I really doubt that. I think Paraka is going to be my all-time favorite Bionicle of all times. I just think that he's that good. But the Axon is really good. He's up there too. I think he's super good. I think he is definitely, of course, one of my favorites, and they just look really good. Like, so many unique pieces about them, recolors, and just overall design is just so striking. And the new mask modes on both Paraka and Axon are really good. Of course, Umbra has the curse of reusing the same mask of literally Winua. I mean, couldn't be bothered, because it's a Walmart exclusive. Out of the lineup of these four Titans, he definitely looks like a Walmart set. He really does. He looks like he came out of Walmart. But yeah, these are some really great sets, and of course, Vezin and Fenrac are really good. I think that they're really good. Of course, they're not my favorite. Of course, you already know my favorite, but they're so good. It's so unique, such a unique design. At least for Fenrac, I think that it's so good, and I wish that they did more sets like it in the future, but they kind of didn't. So that kind of honestly probably makes it more special because it's so unique. But yeah, check out all of these videos that I'm going to recommend if you just really want the full synopsis of all my particular opinions of each of these sets, because really, they're really good videos. I mean, I really recommend checking them out, because, I really like to talk about Bionicle. So maybe give those a look as well if you already haven't. I mean, just, watch it again. Do that. I did not forget about Cardash in my last video. That was going to be the review of Cardash. I promised that I was going to at least include him in it in spirit and just show the clips that I had of him while I still had it. So yes, Cardash, he did not make it into the final cut of the big overview of like with the group shot. Unfortunately, he was just too cumbersome. He was too much to handle, and plus, not only that, it wasn't really about handling him. It was just because I really did not have a second batch of the Titans to make Cardash again. Knowing what I would make him, I had to take them apart to build him because I didn't have the other ones, and I just was not gonna bring myself to take them apart again and make Cardash. I just was not going to do that. And why do that when I can at least have these few decent shots of Cardash in this video? So yeah, if you want a super detailed in-depth review of Cardash, check out my literal previous video to get the full synopsis of Cardash and Vizon, because I went through a lot in that video and I discussed a lot in that video. But to say a little bit here, it's super huge. Like I already said in that previous video, he's massive, he's awesome, he has wings, he has the big chomping teeth, he is so detailed. The color scheme is not say the best, but it is definitely good for what it is, of course. And when I say what it is, it's good. The color scheme is good. I want to make that clear. It's good. It could have been better. That's what I'm saying. And you know, there's not much else I can really say without getting too in depth with it. Like, it has a slew of articulation throughout the whole thing. It is actually insane how articulate that thing is, despite kind of how big and heavy it is, and it's a bit restrictive. So yeah, definitely check out the review once again. And yeah, that's really about it with Cardash. All right, we have arrived at the final thoughts. Now, with all that has been said throughout this entire very long video, at last the final amount that all of this came out to by the end of me getting all of these sets. This year cost me over $1,700. That is insane. This was by far the most expensive year out of all the years of Bionicle I've collected so far. This was very expensive. Oh my goodness. I did not expect to pay this much for this year. I kind of anticipated it was going to be a lot, but not to this degree. Not to this degree. What do I think of this year? Like I said, it is definitely my favorite year of all Bionicle because it has an amazing row of sets and combination models, some to a lesser degree, but still, this is a really great solid year. I mean, if you're a Bionicle fan, I recommend getting this entire year. I really do. This is like just you must get, because they have one of the best sets. Now, I know it's not going to be your favorite sets. This is just my personal opinion, but I think this has the best sets in the entire run of Gen 1 Bionicle. So my final score of this entire year, I would give it I'm going to give it a 9.1. Like, it's really good. There's a lot more sets that I definitely enjoyed than I didn't enjoy, because the sets I didn't enjoy were definitely the smaller ones, and the combination models, like, well, I mean, I'm really talking about Erac. Like, the sets I definitely didn't care for was the Matorins, Erac, and Umbra. I think those are the ones I just said, I didn't care for, but the rest of them were good. Like, the Paraka, really good. The other Titans, amazing. The TOA Ena, phenomenal. It's just a few of the sets in there. Oh yeah, and Gold Good Guy. I think that was like, why is he even here? But he you know, he's canon, so he has to exist somewhere. But I think that regardless of that, this was an amazing year. So tell me your opinions down in the comments, because I read every single comment. I really do, and I really do appreciate everyone who actually tunes in to watch my videos on my channel, of course. I really do appreciate that. That means the absolute world to me. I cannot stress that enough, and I am truly thankful that you guys are here to actually interact. You like and you comment and you just tell me what you're thinking. I mean, seriously, I really do appreciate that. That goes a long way. That means a lot. It really does. So with that, join me next time when I finally go look at, well, starting to look at 2007, and I won't lie, it's probably gonna be a while before I get to that because those sets are gonna be hard to find. So in the meantime, I'm probably gonna do some other reviews, probably like Star Wars, the Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm actually gonna start doing that next year, so stay tuned for that. I'm gonna start doing some other set reviews because, you know, it's gonna be a while before I come back to Bionicle. So unfortunately, this will be the last video for a good while for Bionicle. Maybe, who knows? But I definitely have some videos in mind that's upcoming. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I have been RobeTheMatoran, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate, and an amazing, fantastic New Year. Farewell.
For centuries, the bottom of the deepest seas have been shrouded in mystery and superstition. Some say it's a hostile place inhabited by the strangest creatures. Others that it's a prison for the most dangerous outcasts. Legend has it that the only hope of ever getting out of there is a mask that every deep-sea creature has been craving for years. A mask, they say, everyone is prepared to fight for and risk their life to possess. But the only way of ever finding out is to go there and see for yourself. Wiser, but if you think your troubles are over, you'll soon find out they've only just begun. Bionicle presents the Paraka, Creeps from the Deep.